Hello everyone, this is Anna. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about generators and human design and the main reasons why generators burn out, whether that is in your career, in business, creativity, or anywhere else in your life. Everything is usually connected on some level anyway. And what I'm going to share with you here applies to both generators and manifesting generators, so all the energy types. And there's an important difference between the energy types, so manifesting generators and generators who consistently create their own life force energy in their sacral. And yes, I am one of them. And non-energy types, so manifestors, projectors, and reflectors who don't consistently generate their own life force energy in their sacral. They have an undefined sacral. And so for all the non-energy types, one of the most important reasons why they burn out is that they're simply not getting enough rest. And I'm not going to say that generators and manifesting generators don't need rest. And of course, we all have our natural rhythm of action and rest. But typically for generators and manifesting generators, getting rest is not quite as important as for the non-energy types. So typically when we burn out, that is not the main reason. The main reason for generators and manifesting generators is that we're simply putting our energy into the wrong things. And what that means is that we're putting our energy into things that don't genuinely bring us joy, that don't light us up, and that are not fulfilling and satisfying to us in a really authentic way. And so there are a few things to pay attention to. So this applies to all the types. It's always important that we enter into experiences correctly based on our type so that we follow our strategy and authority. And what that looks like for generators is that we wait to respond. So we have a magnetic aura that consistently draws things to us, opportunities, people, anything that we could really imagine. And then our job is to respond to those things based on our inner authority. So for generators and manifesting generators, that is either sacral authority or emotional authority. I'm not going to go too much into that part in this video, but there are lots of YouTube videos that explain the inner authority, the different kinds of inner authorities in more depth, and I will go into it in some other videos, I'm sure. And there's some sample readings on this channel too, where you can look at the different authorities, but that's not so much the point of this video. What's important though is that we do honor our inner authority, and so whether it's sacral authority or emotional authority, we do need to say yes to what feels good to us, what really brings us joy, what really lights us up. And it's also really important to say no to the wrong things, so the things that feel like they're draining our energy, that we're doing just out of obligation, or because it's expected of us, or because it's somehow coming from our conditioning, our societal conditioning. There are a lot of different factors, but especially that is often really difficult for us generator types because we were raised to be people pleasers, and so it can take a lot of deconditioning and a lot of courage on that journey as well to really, first of all, learn to be honest with ourselves, but then also with everyone else. So if something feels like a no, do we actually have the courage to honor our truth and to communicate that to others? And I know on my own journey this has been a really difficult lesson many times. But I've definitely seen that the more I honor my yes, and the more I give myself permission to really pursue the things that light me up while entering into them correctly, so not just initiating from the mind, but really waiting for something to respond to, and then taking the time I need to feel into my yes or no if I need to, and then moving forward based on what feels like a yes or no to me. And the more I do this on my journey, I've definitely seen that the more energized I feel, and when I spend time doing the things that really light me up, then it feels like, it actually fuels me, it doesn't exhaust me. So of course, there's always a time when I get tired and I need to rest as well. But when we enter into things correctly based on our strategy and authority, and we say yes to the things that bring us joy, that really light up our sacral, we say no to the things that are not a good fit for us and that don't feel good to us, then you'll notice that things will start to flow much more easily. You won't feel like you're constantly putting in a lot of effort or force to make things happen, or you're just pushing a boulder uphill or something like that. When you're feeling that, then probably you're putting in too much effort. And that can sometimes even happen when you're doing something that brings you joy, but we also may have that conditioning. We just think, we need to constantly be doing something, or we need to be putting in a lot more effort than what is really required. And so that can be another part of the conditioning as well. But when we do that, then also we can burn ourselves out. So maybe we are working towards something that is aligned for us, but we are kind of doing it in the wrong way, or just doing more based on the conditioning again. That is telling us that we need to put in more effort. So I would say for generators and manifesting generators, those are typically the two most important things that I see, the two most common reasons why we experience burnout. So I don't want to go too much into how to recover from burnout in this video. There are definitely a lot of things to consider, but one of the things that I've definitely seen on my own journey is when I was in a period of burnout in my life, and once I really started shifting the way I was entering into experiences, whether that's saying yes to the thing that was really calling me and bringing me joy, or burning my bridges in areas where I was just doing things out of obligation, or where I just needed to let go of something that was draining my life force. And then in combination with really applying my strategy correctly, so waiting for something physical to respond to rather than initiating mentally. So what I've seen on my own journey is typically just shifting into my natural way of creating and entering into experiences that made a big difference right away. And of course, there can be situations where maybe we need to take more physical measures as well, and you just take some time to rest, to really get back into that natural flow again and to recharge our batteries. But I've often seen on my own journey that when I just really refocus on putting my energy into the right things and no longer putting energy into the things that are draining me, then things can shift really, really quickly. To end this video, I just wanted to share a brief story about one of my own experiences with burnout. I think this is probably the longest phase of burnout that I've ever experienced in my life, and that was quite a few years ago. I was doing something else in my business, so I was in a coaching business back then, and feeling really stuck and struggling to figure out how to make it work. And I felt deep down that something wasn't quite aligned for me. I couldn't really put my finger on it. I was really focusing on trying to figure it out and just, trying out a lot of different things, but not really waiting to respond and just entering into things more through mental initiating. But what I remember, what happened back then is I had this idea that I really just needed more time and space to rest. So that was what I felt I needed to really get out of the exhaustion and just really be able to grow my business more efficiently and just in a way that actually worked and was sustainable. And so I focused a lot on, for example, creating different offers. So creating offers that would allow me to make more passive income, or making my marketing more efficient and less time consuming, and so on. And basically with the idea that I just needed more space and time to rest. And what I did realize when I really made that shift to just letting go of that business and then entering into a totally new phase of my business based on actually responding to something physical that came my way when the time was right, and I was really ready to let go of the old and ready to leap into the new. And then the right thing came, and I really responded based on what felt good to me. And so that was really the start of creating card decks for my clients and my business, and my publishing business, Wonderland Publishing, a little more than 6 years ago. And then things shifted really quickly. Not only did my business really take off really quickly, but at the same time, it was really fueling me, and I felt energized and joyful, and it was really just self-perpetuating for a long time. And it did bring a lot more ease too, because I didn't have to put in so much force or effort to make things happen. But at the same time, it was really easy to keep going because I really felt energized by what I was doing. So that is a classic example. And I did recover from that phase of burnout really quickly once I jumped into this new phase in my business. And more recently, I've actually had to do this as well. So of course, things keep changing and nothing ever stays the same in life. And so recently, I've actually had to let go of a part of my business that no longer felt aligned, even though it did for a while on my journey in the past. And so it's really been a journey of having the courage to say no, to close a door to the past, and really fully commit to the new things that I felt strongly inspired to create. So not just based on inspiration from up here, but really what was just calling me based on what was really feeling joyful and exciting. And yeah, I'm still very much in that transition right now, and excited to see where it goes. But yeah, just keep seeing the same thing over and over again once I let go of those energy drains and I really put my energy into the things that feel delightful and joyful, even if it feels like it doesn't make any sense, or logic can't really figure out how to make it work. There's a magic that happens when we do that, and it's like the universe just jumps in to support us in miraculous ways. So if you relate to any of this, and if you're a generator or a manifesting generator, and maybe you've experienced burnout or you're in a phase of burnout right now, feel free to let me know in the comments, how exactly you have experienced that. I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in a more in-depth human design reading, I have a couple options available right now. You can either get a recorded reading or a private session with me. You can find both on my website, and I'll leave the links for you down below. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to be back with more very soon.